So, the woman I spoke to at MSBA said even though it's 45.11, it's very realistic to assume it's 50%.
When all said and done.
When all is said and done, it would be about 50%. Another question that came up was whether the cost of the feasibility study would be reimbursed, whether the project was selected or not to continue, and in fact it will be. There are two different areas. If you do, once you do the feasibility study, the cost of that will be reimbursed. It'll be reimbursed at 45.11%. That you can't go up or down on that. And then if after the feasibility study you're selected to go forward, the building project actually will be reimbursed at a different rate. Another question came up at the Joint Financial Committee meeting on two more questions on Friday. One was, is the septic system reimbursable?
Oh, that's right.
And it is not.
Even as part of a new project?
It is not.
Wow.
They, that was an unequivocal, absolute, emphatic, we're not doing it.
So when they come to look at the reimbursement, they just cut that right out of the bottom line?
Right. The second question was if you tear down part of the high school and you just save one part of it for some other use, is that reimbursable? And that may be reimbursable depending upon how the scope of the project is finally developed. So what she said was it would be reimbursed up to 8% as site preparation. So because you're not using the building but you're just tearing it down, it's possible that some of it will be reimbursed but not at the rate of 45.11%. I have spoken with the town administrator and a couple of other folks at Town Hall to get the reports that they're doing on town maintenance of the buildings over to me so I can get them in. They are just about complete, and the town administrator has assured me that I'll have those very soon. And again, my discussions with Katie Timmons today, she says we're right on schedule, we're doing exactly what we should do. And the most important thing right now is the vote at town meeting to get the feasibility study.
Right, that's key. This will be on the warrant for town meeting on June 7th, I believe is the date.
Yep.
And I think we're asking for up to $1 million.
Up to $1 million.
To be spent. So.
And then I just want to let you know about the second part. But on May 5th, we had two representatives from MSBA in the district, and they went through all our buildings, and they had checklists. And they just go through and get the conditions of the schools. It has nothing to do with whether you're in a building project or not in a building project. It's a mandated 5-year inspection. The schools will be rated 1, 2, 3, or 4. I met with the principals the day of the inspection. The day after the inspection. They all said it went fine. I met with one of the representatives from MSBA, and we talked for a half hour, 45 minutes. She was very happy with how things were going. But it has no way connected to the building project. It's just they just come through and it's a 5-year annual inspection of the condition of all the facilities in the Commonwealth.
Anybody have any comments on the building project? Now, both Jerry and Clem serve on the committee, so I think we're meeting much more regularly now.
We're meeting every 2 weeks. We're meeting tomorrow night, Cliff? Tomorrow night. Every 2 weeks we've been meeting and put together a good subcommittee to do the presentation in June. They've been doing some work on it. I think, although it's a large committee, I think, again, I've said this before, I think it's a good committee, and they're very motivated, very interested in what they're doing, and I think it's going to move forward.
Just some
bring forward on the presentation.
Just some feedback to keep in mind. We did hear this from Cliff was there and Karen was there. With the finance committee, we met, and I don't know if Michael was there or not. They talked about the whole controversy with, if we weren't going to use the badge anymore, what are you going to do with it as a building? So the finance committee brought up that issue of, do we have a plan for the high school? I don't think we have a specific plan right now, but I think there have been some ideas already tossed around as to how to use the high school.
Well, again, I don't want to get too much into
no,
that.
I know.
Committee, we haven't discussed it, and I agree with you. That was the Achilles heel of the
right.
Of the Swan Pond project was what are we going to do with the badge. the point is, this process is different than all of us understand. It's been pounded home to Cliff and I, and Dr. Mandel has been, reemphasizing as well. We are now working in collaboration with the school building administration. This isn't us going and saying, look, here's what we want to do,
Right.
and this is what we want to do with the high school. We're going in and we're starting, that's what this whole process is going to be, working with them together to solve our secondary school building needs. And that may, also, that's also going to involve what we're doing with the building.
Okay.
To a certain extent, we're going back to square one.
Yeah.
And the thing that will have to be done is to look at all of the existing facilities and see what use can be made of them.
Could be parking, could be, we don't know.
We don't know where it's coming out.
We're in partnership now.
So in some ways, they'll tell us what we might want to do with.
It's gonna be it's gonna be what the feasibility study
Right,
is.
right, it's gonna be, right.
And we don't have, like, control over how big the classrooms are gonna be, by their standard.
Right. Okay.
Those kind of things, the amount of light coming in,
It's a much different process, and
everything
I'm
is
having
a
to
powered
retool
system.
myself to get used to the process compared to the way we did it with.
So although
with the batch.
it's set up as, we're looking at the high school, kind of like looking at the middle school.
Right.
All of that is in limbo
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
And we have a lot of, direction, our architect has a lot of direction already. All of that will be considered in the process.
And that's one other thing, Keith, you didn't mention, is that we're trying to get all the necessary paperwork to see if we can continue to work with the current architect who's putting in a lot of
Yes.
pro bono time on this account right now.
Absolutely.
And been a lot of help, and we're hoping the state will allow us to continue to use that,
Right.
that architect.
And just an aside on that, my observation is that they are competent,
Yes.
committed, and have done some very nice work.
Okay. Deanna?
Just a question for the members of the committee. Is there going to be some type of education to the community before town meeting about the warrant article and about the feasibility study? So that people aren't hearing about it for the first time on June 7th?
There's a series of meetings that are
Okay.
taking place, and they should be announced
Before the public.
tomorrow night,
Okay,
how
great.
well that's going down.
All right.
We made a presentation to the finance committee a week ago, and they were on board with it.
Right.
So we're making, step by step.
I think that is a good point. Both the selectmen and the finance committee have told us that they, I think both unanimously or close to unanimously support the $1 million for the feasibility study, up to $1 million. So, but as Cliff said, there should be some meetings announced soon for the public to come in and listen.
I think we're actually on with selectmen next month.
Okay.
I believe that's right.
Okay. I just realized that Jenny O'Leary is sitting out there, and I know that, Jenny, you wanted to hear us talk about the superintendent transition, but since you're there, we can bump you up one spot on the agenda so you can come and tell us what you need.
I was actually very happy to be here for all this discussion.
Yes, that was probably good for you to hear. So why don't you just introduce yourself and...
Jenny O'Leary. I'm the Youth Services Director, and I have just reported annually to the school committee. I know we've brought on new members and everything too, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update about our programs. I'm sure some of you have heard it over and over again sitting at town meeting or Board of Selectmen meetings, but we do like to just make sure that everybody knows what we're doing, and we do work with the schools quite a bit, so want the school committee to kind of be involved as well. So some of the programs that we currently offer are teen workshops. Those usually run twice per month throughout the school year, and they're really focused on just allowing our youth to find different things to get interested in. So they might range anywhere, like tomorrow night is our last one of the year, and it's actually a drum circle workshop. But we've also done things around nutrition and the college essay and kind of more educational kinds of workshops, as well as things about music and pottery and painting and dance. And so there's kind of a wide range there, but it's ways just for kids to either get help with something they might need, like the college essay specifically, being able to have somebody to read over that and work on it with them, or something that might just spark their interest that they hadn't been interested in before, like the music and dance kinds of things. So Those are picked from a list that our youth group actually tells us things that they're interested in or need help with, and that's kind of how we come up with those workshops. Another program that we are running is our mentoring program. It started in 2008, and with just one student, one high schooler working with one fifth grader at the Hood School, we tried to partner that person up that needed a little assistance, and it has now grown that we have over 20 participants in just the last 2 years. So that's exciting to see that program grow, and that is high school students that work with elementary school students, and we're now involved with all three elementary schools as well. So we have students from all three of the elementary schools, and we meet at the library weekly and work on both social and educational skills with the kids, and that's co-sponsored with the library as well. The youth services librarian and myself are there to train the mentors in the beginning of the year and then offer ongoing support to those partnerships. They're partnered with one mentor and one mentee throughout the year, and that program has been going really well. We also have our regular youth group meetings that is now going on 3 years that we've been here and had youth group going on. And they really kind of act as our planning committee, picking some of our weekend and vacation activities. Like I said, picking some of the topics that we might go forward with for teen workshops, and really helping to try to address issues that they see in their community, and bringing up what they think needs to change. So, like a comprehensive health curriculum is something that we have talked about a great deal. We have been discussing bullying a lot at youth group recently. It's been in the news so much, so we have some of the youth group kids we'll have them read out loud one of the Globe articles, and then have a lengthy discussion about how they feel about it, how they feel about the kids getting charged with criminal charges and things like that. So we do try to discuss a lot of teen issues, what could or should or does affect them. We also have a youth spreading information group that was started about 1.5 years ago. So that was a little bit, probably 1 year after youth group started. And it is a separate group that specifically, it delves more deeply into those topics. So the things that might come up at a youth group that the kids might have a discussion about, this group specifically researches topics, finds resources for teens of how they can get help. Like if they're covering tobacco, they're going to find resources for how to quit smoking and facts around how that affects the body, and they hang up those facts around the school and then have a bulletin board with the resource sheets that you can take. And they also interview adult resources in town that might be able to help kids with that specific issue. So that's trying to get the picture and some questions and answers about like the people that can help out, like the school psychologists, myself, the school resource officers, and really just kind of trying to put those people up in the school so that all the kids know who they are and where they might be able to go to get some more answers, as well as those resource sheets. They have also been working with the high school PAL program to get together a resource booklet, which I have heard that we put out through all the schools in the 80s, but hasn't been done again. So we're trying to get together something that would be a resource booklet for parents and children that would be able to find all of our local area resources for any of those kind of hot topics that come up that affect children.
PAL is what, peer
Assistance leadership, who is also doing mentoring, and I went to train their mentors as well, and they are mentoring with the middle school level. So we're kind of reaching both levels with our high school mentors through those two programs. And that's run through the high school.
Remember that was the final.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
And we also have community service opportunities throughout the year. I will say we have a lot bigger groups when community service hours are due as a requirement, but we also do have regular participants in all of our community service, as well as kids that have committed criminal acts that are mandated to serve community service hours, kids receiving confirmation that are mandated to serve a certain amount of community service, and then our junior and seniors are also required to
I bet you got
do
a lot
community
of
service.
contacts like the last month or so from seniors, especially looking for community service opportunities.
Yes, and then I think the Honor Society has an even
They do.
greater requirement. So you have your high school history requirement, your Honor Society requirement, and then if you're also getting confirmation, that's a whole lot.